Hey watch friends, today we're going to take a look at a couple sailcloth straps from Australian-based company Artem. So these straps, as you might have noticed from the pop-up, these were sent in for review and I do get to keep the straps after the review. However, there were no other conditions for it, but I want to be upfront with that. So first, let's go ahead and look at the packaging. You might not generally spend a lot of time talking about packaging for straps, but look at this outer box. So it's nice here. It does have another box that this came in, but it's just basic for that. And then sliding this open and looking inside, it gives you this presentation appearance. So this has this plastic, nice outer sleeve. You've even got text under there. Just really incredible what you're getting from the unboxing experience alone. So you start off on good footing right off the bat. One of the big claims to fame for these straps is they market themselves as having zero break-in. So I was wondering, is that just a gimmick? I honestly was extremely skeptical of that. I've seen enough as seen on TV kind of products out there to know that oftentimes they are sensationalized. So with this, I will say, certainly it is not what I would call a zero break-in, but it's pretty darn close to zero break-in. So these out of the box, I did find them to be pretty darn pliable. At the top, you do have a little added thickness, and then it does taper down throughout the length of the strap. This is really the only part where I found any initial stiffness to this. And you can see even now, it does have a little more resistance, but I've got to say, out of the box, these were relatively comfortable. All I did was I go through, and I recommend this with every strap, I just kind of bent them and rolled them just a little bit to get that in there. And as soon as I strapped it on wrist, it was pretty comfortable. And as I've used these, within a period of hours, and especially over the coming few days of wearing these, they went from pretty comfortable to just insanely comfortable. It was absolutely not your typical sailcloth break-in experience. So that was very impressive, and I think they live up to the hype there. Additionally, these straps do come with either quick release spring bars or traditional spring bars. So you're able to accommodate your preference, whichever ones you particularly like. Personally, as you can see here, I opted for the quick release with both of these. I'm glad to see that. Size-wise, we have here 20 millimeters as well as 22 millimeters. So I went for the standard two, but they do additionally have these available in 21 and 23 millimeters to fit some of your other off-size straps, which is common with some of your luxury brands. Stitching colors, you have this available here. You can see black on black with black stitching. You have black with gray, so gray stitching. They're also available with white stitching, blue stitching, and red stitching. So you do have a variety of options available there. These being a sailcloth strap, these are completely water resistant. So both the front and this is, for me, it makes me happy, non-leather backing. So not only does that add for your water resistance, but as many of you may know, I don't personally use leather. So that's an excellent touch there. So I really appreciate that. Additionally, stylistically, I found that these are much more versatile than I expected. I thought I was going to slap these onto dive watches, which you can see I did here with one of them. But this one, even as being a dressier or casual watch, this is actually my personal preference. I love this particular pairing. This is the new Carl Septimi, which I will have a review coming soon of this also. And I think it just complements it nicely. It actually, with having some of that sheen that it does, I think it gives it an ultra premium look to it. So it really doesn't take on a dive feel unless you put it on a dive watch. And I think it kind of adapts to whatever style you're putting it on. So would I call it an ultra dressy? No, absolutely not. But that being said, for doing a dress casual, I think it works excellent for that, just as this watch itself. So I really think it hits the mark well there. Additionally, we've already talked about it a fair amount, but these are insanely comfortable. Once you get this contoured onto your wrist, which takes almost no time, it is just unreal as to how nicely these sit and fit. And you can even see, even just trying to get into the keepers, really easy experience there and just fantastic. But look at the way that contours around the wrist. I mean, it's hard to believe that that's a sailcloth strap. That is just excellent. Really extremely impressed with that. The only thing that I will say, I did have a minor hiccup with one of these. The keeper on this particular one, on the 22, it had just a little bit of sharpness. All I did was actually I flipped that around, and it wasn't a big deal at all. I will say for the company, for customer service, I gave them a heads up about that. They said that absolutely was a flaw on that particular one, that should never be the case, and it certainly wasn't with this 22. This was comfortable right out of the box. This, I found, has been a non-issue in usage, but the company did immediately respond back to me despite the time zone difference being in the US, and they offered to replace that. I told them it wasn't a big enough of a deal that I was concerned with it, but I did want to mention that little thing. So excellent example of customer service, and those kind of things happen, and like I said, pretty minor issue there. The finishing on these, Let's take a closer look at that. I mean, this really, it is just so nicely done. You can see everything from the stitching itself, extremely clean stitching. The same thing is true on the front and back. This backing is really nicely applied. I mean, even look at those holes. Those are precision cut. They actually did, they had specific symmetry that went for this. So when it's on the wrist, I will say that does limit you a little bit for sizing. And on the topic of sizing, they do recommend these for ranging, and of course it varies by watch depending on your lug to lug, but their recommended target is 6.5-inch wrist, which is right around where I come in at, up to around 7.5-inch wrist. So it does have a little bit of limitation there, but they do have more that are going to be coming. So I found that these were pretty adaptable. I tend to wear this on the last hole, so I wouldn't go a lot smaller than around 6.3, give or take, depending on the watch. But they will have an extra small and an extra large option that are available based on customer feedback. So that is excellent news there. The overall, we talked about the customer service for these. The shipping was very fast. The customer service responsiveness has been excellent. But the biggest thing, you're here to talk about straps. The straps themselves, I mean, just extremely impressive quality. So if you are in the market and looking for a new Sailcloth strap, these ones are coming in at $85 with standard spring bars. And then these quick release are coming in at $98. I know some of you might have cringed at that price. However, if you've ever priced the premium Sailcloth straps out there, there are ones that are much higher, and there's actually non-Sailcloth straps that are much higher, including even NATO straps from Omega or what have you. So these, I think, for their target market, I think hit well. And the reality is, throwing it on a cheaper microbrand, a mid-priced for a microbrand, I really think that these hit well, regardless of what style you're going for. And it's one of those things, you pay for the strap up front, you have it for likely life, and I think it is worth the cost of admission for this one. So I initially have to admit I scoffed a little bit at the price, but I think it's well worth every penny of that now that I've actually had these and used them. So I do highly recommend them. So I hope if you are looking for some new straps, this has been helpful for you. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider hitting that like button. And if you haven't already done so, please do hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and if you're looking to find me on another medium, you can find me on Instagram.